Hello and welcome to another ETTO's catch-up. Today we're going to be talking about a video game that, I just stumbled through that. Both Josh and I have finished, which is a very rare occurrence. Not just because we don't finish games, but because Josh and I don't have the same taste in games that we want to finish. Generally, we finish very different games.
Generally, yeah, unless they're like the biggest games.
Yes.
Well, even then, like sometimes you just don't finish games because of your work,
Yes.
and you just don't have time.
I do not have time.
What? There's only been 2 games we've both finished with the same games this year.
This year, yeah. But the game that we're talking about today, or tonight, or whenever you're watching and listening, is it's not Ghost of Tsushima, it's CloudPunk.
It is. CloudPunk.
It's a lovely little indie game from Ion Lands, which I got right the second time tonight.
That's it. Nailed it.
And it's got like one mechanic. So if you're worried about having to learn things, you don't have to. But it's a fun one. It's basically, I keep saying Uber, it's not. It's more like a courier in a cyberpunk world.
Yeah.
Less Uber.
Yeah.
Although she does get stuck with Uber stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, pretty much. She's a courier delivery driver called Rania.
Rania.
And yeah, basically, she is. Wait, is she paying off a debt? I forget.
I think
she's there.
It's more she's come there and she needs to work so she has money at all, I think.
Right. And then she almost gets captured by the debt corpse for different things or something.
The game has a lot going on.
It does.
Just brace yourself for not many resolutions. Basically, there's like one through line of it, which is there's a mystery. There's this deep undercover thing because the city is basically based, because it's the future, is based around an AI called Cora, and something weird is afoot. And basically, that's the only thing you're going to get a resolution on. Just FYI. Don't hold out too much hope for the rest. It is an indie game, and you don't need much. But I think the big thing that this game has, before we talk about the quote-unquote gameplay, is voice acting-wise. This is probably one of the best voice-acted indie games. Like, barring a character called Pasta, every character is wonderfully voice acted. Like, you get a sense of their character through their voice, because a lot of the time they're in your car or phoning in, so you don't visually see them.
They're all so unique. So even like you could not be looking at the screen and you could listen and probably pick what character it is, even if you don't remember the names.
Yes.
Because who the hell remembers the names of the people in this?
No.
But yeah, like you can just, everyone is just so unique, and yeah, as you said, like their voices really tell you who they are.
Yes. Yeah.
I forget his name, but the film noir guy.
Yes, Huxley.
He was freaking great.
Yeah, he was very good.
So much fun.
He was really cool.
I'm gonna struggle going through some of this because I did finish it like
it was a
month or two ago.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, but
look, just feel it.
We'll see how we go.
We'll just feel the vibe. I think Huxley is probably the best side character, and I mean, I think barring like Control, he's probably the most. Like, he speaks the most. He's the one you spend the most time with. Because a lot of the characters, it's like, you send them a delivery or something, and you get the intro and outro of them. Whereas Huxley is this really cool, ongoing, film noir thing. He's got a whole vibe about him. I love that he never drops it as well. Like, there's not a moment at all where he's like, maybe this tense moment, I'll stop doing this. No, he's always ready for it. And it's also not, like, it's not a Yoda speak. Like, it makes sense. Like, you can understand what he's trying to say through his bizarre narration.
Yeah. It's basically just him narrating his own life the whole time, as if it was a film noir character. But, yeah, so he kind of asks you questions by saying, I asked her if she could take me where I wanted to go. And then you were like, yeah, okay, I'll take you where you need to go. It's such a cool, like, unique, comical way to write a character.
Yeah.
Really cool. Loved it.
It's a way that I think only indies could get by. I feel like he could probably slide into like a GTA maybe as like a side character.
Yeah.
But there's a certain writing style we've spoken about of indie games, and this game definitely holds to that, I think. In the sense that it can tip to just like rubbish writing, but then it can make Josh cry. Apparently Josh almost cried at a point in this game.
Yep. I certainly did. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will. A lot of people watched this game in full on the live stream with me post the first play, and it was really cool, like experiencing it with people, because outside of there's like 3 things: you fly, you walk or you make decisions that seemingly change the narrative, but we found out doesn't actually. But it's really cool. They're usually nice and like removed from each other. It's not like you could buy dairy light milk or dairy fat milk. It's like, well, that's not much of a decision there, is it? It's like you could kill every android or you could make sure their whole civilization stays alive, and there's all these like it's really, there's some really cool decisions, and having the chat alongside definitely helped my moral compass, but I think sometimes made it fail.
Interesting.
How did you feel with all the multiple choices? Did you stop? Because I think the thing with me, because I was streaming it, it was that like waiting for a call and response of chat. For you, did you stop and think about any of your options, or was it like straight away you're like, that's the one?
I think I was definitely, I knew what I wanted to do, but I was torn about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but I wonder what would happen if I did this other thing.
Yeah.
Or like the one where you have like 6 people that you can choose from, and you can only choose 3. And you have to choose like 3 of the ones that will either make your ride, like pay for your ride, or will just save the better people.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was a really good one. That was really cool.
That was a great decision. I don't know how like only choosing poor people would have affected it and stuff, because like I think we
did the same.
Yeah, we found out we chose the same people, and I think like one of them was a doctor and a professor or something, so like they probably have money. Yeah, that might have been enough to pay for it, but if you only chose the other people, how would that have affected it? Would you be like at a much bigger loss for money? Not that you need money that much in this game anyway.
Yeah,
it's you have too much of it generally as you're playing.
There's also little like side shops and stuff. Did you touch any of them? Because like they sell like upgrades and stims and stuff, and it's like you don't run in the game. There's no combat and stuff. It's like, what's that for?
Yeah, there's like drug dealers. Yeah, and I'm like, what? Why would I buy that?
Yeah.
What's the point? Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
I only ever really bought the stuff that I needed to. Like sometimes you had to buy an elevator, like some food.
Yes.
Some ramen or something.
That's right.
Weird thing. I would always go over and like see what people had.
Yeah. See, that's the thing I'm intrigued about.
Well, not always, but I did for the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And then I just walked past most people.
Because that's the thing, this game, when you started, because I remember in the first play, I was like, wow, there seems to be like side quests and like other people to talk to and stuff when you first start playing it. But then there kind of isn't. I mean, maybe there is a little bit of that, but it's definitely not as open as you would expect, considering how big this is. There's like 6 different levels of where are we? It's not Korra. What's the place called? Do you remember?
Nivalis.
Nivalis, that's it. Yeah, there's like 6 levels that you go through. Each of them pretty different. Like, they're very visually different, and like the buildings are styled a little bit differently. There's definitely a top and a bottom, and then the buildings change in between. It's very big as a world, but it doesn't feel lived in, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, all the NPCs and stuff are always walking around on the buildings. They don't like pop in. Like everything is loaded at the same time, which is really, really impressive.
Yeah. They it's quite a technical achievement for such a big game.
Yeah.
Like, there's constant rain, which would be your particles, which would probably take a bit of a toll. There's so many like lights and glows, which I guess would probably be somewhat baked, and that would be better for it. But like, there is so much happening, so many cars and stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that this game runs as well as it does is pretty impressive.
It's crazy. And like the load screens are super fast, really, like considering. Because most indie games don't even bother. Like, it is super impressive. And yeah, I mean, we might as well talk about the visuals, because it is such a striking game in a genre that obviously is about to be flooded, because Cyberpunk will be out later this year.
Ooh, yes.
It manages to find its own, because it goes with this kind of cubic, really cool style. The character models aren't amazing, but you don't spend much time with any of them. Like, you just walk past them, or just blatantly staring in the face of William. But like, yeah, the world is so good. Like you say, the glow, and just now in the final level, you go up this elevator shaft that's like covered in glass, and the way the light bounces off, like everything kind of blooms in a lovely way. It's probably one of the best looking glossy indies, because a lot of the time indies go for like a pastel. Like this is a nice looking, like bright, vibrant looking game. It's really cool.
Yeah, it definitely pulls off that cyberpunk feeling and look. So I think this is a very good entry into the cyberpunk thing. It finds its own.
Yeah.
And just on the character models that you were saying, like they don't look great. They're almost like cyberpunk 3D versions of the Sword and Sorcery characters.
I don't know.
Do you remember that mobile game Sword and Sorcery?
I'm sure I can find it. Let me look at an image, but continue.
Cool. Yeah, they kind of look like that, which is very cool. Just like they have very thin, long legs and stuff like that. They kind of remind me of that. I haven't looked it up since, but from my memory of what the Sword and Sorcery characters look like.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So they've almost just kind of taken that and put the cyberpunk sort of futuristic modern feeling over the top.
I'm just constantly in awe when I load it up again. Like, obviously, the more times you load it up, generally as a 10-hour-long game, you should just play it in one go or two goes. But every time it's like, this is so sick. The amount of cars always blows me away. Like, there's just a barrage of cars, which is terrible. Like, for me, because that's the biggest, I think the biggest, if there's an issue with this game, I wouldn't even say the biggest, I'd say the only issue with this game is if you want to drive your hover, which is what your car is, if you want to drive that safely, you're not going to. Is probably, because as much as there's this beautiful stream of cars, they definitely don't interact. Like, they have a path and they will knock you out of the way. Which, it's like normal traffic, but there's just, I did you demonstrate, like, my car almost blew up in a very important mission with Huxley. Like, a mission where it was timed and you had to get Huxley somewhere. My car was unable to move faster than, it was like Amber Alert. There was just smoke pouring out of the back of it. It couldn't boost. It was the worst experience of my life. Did you get to that level?
Of your life.
Yeah.
That's
well. I mean,
wow.
I may have gotten a part of my stomach out, but it doesn't. The stress I had it does
not compare.
Not at all. Did you do that? Were you as bad as me? Is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think I got that. I don't think it was that rough. Okay. I don't think I got into that position, or maybe like once.
Yeah.
I think, but kind of almost towards the end. I think maybe I just hit too many things and didn't repair it because I'm like, I don't even know if this matters.
Yeah.
And then at some stage, I probably just ran straight into a pole at full speed, and then they were just like, "Well, you're gonna want to fix this."
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Right.
So I just went and did that.
I did want to see if you could blow up the car, but I never got there.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We should go back after this, because I think you can continue playing afterwards. So yeah, we should jump back in after the pod and do that.
See if we can blow up the car.
Let's talk about some of the, I don't know, maybe the later decisions and the later things that happen in the game. Yeah. So basically, this Cora idea, which is this AI that is running the city. It seems to be getting too bloated with information or something, and that is causing like almost physical cracks and problems within the city.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of crashes and buildings are falling apart and stuff like that. And so you get told that you need to find your complete polar opposite person, which is a very business-like, straight-laced, tightly wound lady.
JK.
On top of
just JK. There's nothing else.
Very cheeky.
Yeah.
And you guys make a decision yourself, even though she ends up just telling you to do it.
Yeah, totally. It's supposed to be the two of you combined minds make a decision. Yes. She's just like, you know what? On you. I would pick this, but on you.
Yes. So you basically have the choice. I think you have like a data drive or something that has Cora's daughter. Well, they say it's Cora's daughter, but I think it's just like a Cora 2.0 or something like that. That will be overwritten over the top of Cora, and that will give the city a fresh start. It won't be bloated. Things will get cleaned up. Or you can save Cora's daughter from getting bloated like that and send her to a city that is like just a different city, a city that is probably running better, not so intense and overgrown, and already in the midst of destruction. So you have the two choices. I'm very glad, without even saying anything, the stream chose the opposite thing to what I chose, which I was stoked about. So I overwrote Cora to unbloat the city. The negative version of myself, JK, was not happy with my choice. But in the end, for the overall story after that, nothing seemed to be different from what I remember. Control, the guy that you talked to from CloudPunk that helps you out, he did not seem to say anything different either. There was no like final like different ending or anything. It was just whether your negative version agreed with you or didn't. But yeah, when you guys chose, I was stoked to see that there was some sort of dialogue choice that was different, or dialogue that came from JK that was different. And then we also, right at the end, lost control.
We did.
Wow.
Well,
didn't mean to say that. That was... There you go.
Very
Things
good.
just happen on this podcast.
It's very well done. And this is the moment that you had a little. Not you didn't cry, but you just had a little emotion.
Yeah. I may have like, you know how sometimes you just well up a little bit without tearing.
When you say you.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but I also do that. I agree. Because that's what, whenever we talk about crying, we actually just mean a little well. Just a little well.
Sometimes. If it's to the moon, it is intense weeping. It is weeping for an hour at 1 a.m.
Twice, probably.
Yeah.
You played it more than once, haven't you?
I played it a second time. I did not cry as much. But we Camus Control starts getting deleted. I think his debt is paid or something.
Yeah.
And so the debt people don't need to have him alive anymore. And so basically they just delete him because he was a person, he fell into debt, they backed his mind up so that he was still alive digitally and could pay off his debt by working somewhere, and he chose CloudPunk, even though that's an illegal place to work.
I don't know how you choose that.
Yeah, I don't know how you can do that as a
profession.
Digital person, and how the debt corps who seem to... everyone seems to really hate CloudPunk. Yeah. Basically the police, how they like allowed that. Yes. And then Camus, everyone's favorite character.
He gets a bod. He gets a little bod.
Gets a bod. It's so sweet.
We should say, for those that haven't played the game, Camus is basically, was our dog. I think was always an AI. It was always an AI dog back where we lived like out of city. Or it may have been a dog at some point, but it then gets loaded up as an AI in our hover, and then at the end, the adorable little pup, it gets a bud. It's great.
He does.
It's our constant
such
companion.
A cute little dog.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go Emmy's last comment that's just come through, but let's be honest, Camus was the best part of this game, and basically all I care about. And
absolutely,
that's pretty much true.
Yes, except for when Control died and I cried.
You did care about that. That is for sure. Speaking of things that people care about, Sam loves me and also put a comment in the chat, which is that he only watched me playing the game one other time before tonight. I didn't realize that. I thought he'd seen it more than once. I abused him until he watched it tonight. So sorry, Sam. Being someone who doesn't play games that much and is very picky when they do, the game definitely got me interested in what it had to offer. That's very true. It very quickly intrigues you. Whether the story pays off for you personally, I think it is on those that play it. I personally was a bit disappointed. I still loved it, but I probably would have liked a little bit more. But it definitely does a very good job at selling itself, mainly just in the visuals. Because, like, you just want to keep living in this world. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's just nice to be in. It's just nice to exist in there.
Because, outside of visuals, the sound design is also really good. And the music, it's the perfect mix of, like, atmospheric, and then it kind of like your dynamic music of Spider-Man and stuff. It knows when to build and then just fall again, and it's really, really good at that.
That's a really good point, actually, as well. I hadn't thought about that the music actually does change.
Yeah.
Like for an indie game to do that, it's such an open indie game as well. They really do trigger those sound cues.
It's very good.
well.
Yeah.
They add a lot of intensity. It's great. It's really good. And
good.
how funny is it? I think you brought this up when you first played it. When I think at some point they're like going through radio stations, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I don't really like this music. I don't really like this music," and then it just settles on the music that has been playing pretty much the entire time anyway.
Yeah,
like it just goes back to the same
the
music.
score.
It's like, fine, all right,
sure. I thought I was going to get like GTA 5, a radio station with Ricky Gervais and just sudden surprise.
That'd be fun.
That'd be funny.
Jade said, so the endings of CloudPunk are like the differences between the endings of Mass Effect 3.
Have you played
What I can tell,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, basically.
I haven't played them. But yeah, from what I can tell, they seem to say that like the decisions at the end of the game, well, your decisions throughout the entirety of Mass Effect would
sculpt the ending.
Yeah, would sculpt the ending entirely, but apparently the ending, I think it comes down to like 2 or 3 choices at the end of Mass Effect 3, I think.
Yeah.
And they all essentially lead to the same thing, or like slightly different, but not enough to be that exciting.
Yeah.
Which is super unfortunate.
Yeah. Emmy, her first comment was that they enjoyed watching me play this game way more than they thought they would. That's awesome. I really like seeing the characters develop and getting tiny peeks into their personalities as the story progressed. It's very true. They say a lot, though, and that's probably why you get tiny peeks. You get big, long peeks, to be honest. But I feel like I skipped through a lot in this because I was streaming it. I wanted to get to the point a lot of the time. But it's really interesting how much of the personality of the characters come through their writing. And apart from a stack of ellipses for control, most of the time it's written. It's not like they used a turn of phrase or like some of the letters were capitalized to really emphasize it. It was like flat out. It had a tight script that when you read it, you got a good deal of character from the characters, which is really cool.
Yes. Sam said, now these same guys just need to make a Back to the Future game because CloudPunk definitely gave me the Back to the Future vibe. I'd be pretty down for that.
Yeah. That would be sick. There's a really cool pixel art version of Doc Marty, the DeLorean, and like Twin Pine Malls that's out there that would slide straight into this game really well. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yes.
As Jay Kennard says, there are Back to the Future. There's the Back to the Future Telltale series of games, which are really good. I think you might enjoy them, Sam. Michael J. Fox has a cameo in it, which is really cool.
Cool.
And yeah, I think it's a 4-part thing, and it's a pretty good story. I mean,
I think it is 5.
It is 5?
I have it on Steam, and it's always there. I'm pretty sure there's 5 of them.
I got it for $1 at EB Games.
Whoa.
A single $1. It was sitting there in a case. I was like, what am I not going to buy it?
Yeah, very nice.
That wasn't the way I thought that sentence was going to go. Yeah, it would be really cool to see what these guys do next. I mean, it was already a shock because when this game dropped, there wasn't a third person, or even, it's like way out, it's not even third person, camera. It was all locked into first person when you're walking around the city. So they've already put in some cool stuff, and they seem to constantly post some really cool ideas on their Instagram and stuff that they're working on more things for this game, which at a 10-hour runtime, I don't know if anyone's going to come back to it unless they maybe there's more story that they want to work on, but it would be interesting to see what else these guys do. Like if they take this style, where else would they go with it? Because it works well for the cyberpunk look, but I wonder, you know, if they made a Western game, how this would translate.
I would absolutely come back to this if there was like a DLC.
Oh, yeah.
If there was like, just another story that they could add. Like, they could just add new stories to this.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I don't know, they could easily just do that. The city is so big.
Yeah.
They could do that. They can add new areas. Like, just a new city. Rania could go back home. I don't know how interesting the country would be without being CloudPunk, but like that would be kind of cool to sort of, you could do some interesting stuff with it.
Be intrigued to know if they what they continue with this game, whether there will be more content. I mean, I think overall Really, really enjoyed it. I think it was a good experience to have with the stream. You, on the other hand, played it by yourself. Like, you feel the same? It was a great little journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think I got probably maybe a little bit more invested in some of the side characters as I had them.
Yes.
Because I didn't skip through and I wasn't having to, like, entertain people. So I could focus way more
on the actual
on
characters.
Kind of everything that was happening.
Yep.
But yeah, I really, really loved this game, like, a lot. It was very, very pretty, very relaxing.
Yes.
Because there's not much of a challenge to it. Like, sometimes there's like 2-3 timed missions or something. It's really not that many, and it's not that crazy.
And you can't fail them either, as I learned.
Yeah, even if you fail them, like,
there's an alt.
They're just like, well, maybe next time you'll get it. But you don't have to retry.
That heart that you were trying to transplant to a person that you had a limited time, oh well, they just died.
Yeah, pretty much. That one's super weird. Yeah, so it was really relaxing, like, after work to just change from my work computer to my home PC and just start playing, because I can just sit back, relax, not do anything, barely even think.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
And just drive around. Like, it's so much fun, really chill.
It's well worth taking a look at. It's fairly short if you're playing it off stream. So yeah, please do check it out. If you want an indie, it's out there. If you want an indie before you play Cyberpunk as like an appetizer, which I don't think that's how appetizers work, but it's more of an entree.
Yes, and it is coming to console pretty soon if it's not out already.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure if it's out yet.
So yeah, they've been, like, teasing special editions and stuff like that of boxed copies for, like, Switch and I think Xbox and PlayStation.
Yep.
And yeah, you can jump on that.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very, very fun, chill little indie game that it's got a lot of heart in it.
It does. It does. A surprising amount of heart. As Dolphin Pants says, it's a Costco free sample of Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
sure.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Because that game, freaking actual Cyberpunk, sounds like it's just going to be, like, decisions out the wazoo that change everywhere and stuff like that. I think a lot of the reviewers and stuff have been saying that they're talking to other reviewers who had that 4-hour playtime with it, or however long they got, and basically no one got the same storyline.
Yeah, wow.
Like, everything was so wildly different for every person. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It seems very, very customizable. It's like the sort of choose your own adventure RPG that people have been wanting.
Absolutely. Which terrifies me.
Yes. As a completionist who, I don't know, like, especially me, I want to do all the side things, but there is no way.
No, you got to play this game like 70 times. It's terrifying. That's one of the best things with, we're going off topic, although kind of still Cyberpunk, with Detroit Become Human, is that you could actually go back just directly to the bit, and it's like, all right, that's the other option. Let's go that way. Like, to the point. What a great game. Yeah. But
very good idea.
There is no way they're going to do it for Cyberpunk. That is too much data to just be, like, holding in the palm of their hand until you let go. But yeah, overall, just a really solid indie title that's so readily available, even more readily available soon. So yeah, if you want to pick it up, enjoy it. If you want to just watch me play all of it, it exists on the channel now. There's a playlist linked either in the screen or something. I don't know. In the screen? Probably not.
Yeah.
But on the channel, there is a full CloudPunk playthrough if you don't want to play it yourself.
Yes, and I think it's only like $15 as well.
Steam is just having constant sales, so you should be fine.
Yeah. You'll get it.
But that's it for this podcast about an indie game, which we haven't really done before, which is really exciting. Maybe it's a new type of content that we'll do more often. If you want it, you should follow the podcast and also jump on over to YouTube and maybe also subscribe to that.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
I think so, yeah.
No, I can't do that. I can't go that high.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And you can also jump over to Patreon if you'd like to help us out there. That would be amazing. Jump over there, just $1, whatever you got, if you can spare it.
Yeah.
But that will get you into the Discord where we have awesome chats like this.
Yep.
You get notified, especially for a lot of streams and extra things that we will hopefully be doing more and more of in the future.
Yes.
And I think that's about it.
I think that's about it. Until the next piece of content that you see or hear us in, I have been Will.
And I have been Josh.
Bye, everyone.
A goodbye.